Hi, Nicole here. I wanted to make a quick video. Um, yeah, I'm wearing a face mask because I just put it on and then I was like, you know what? I will make a video, get my thoughts out. Um, yeah, and I find that the face mask calms my skin down a lot because when I have a lot of stress, it's just like, whoop, my skin is very sensitive and it has always been. Um, anyways, here's Marmar. If you want to see Marley, say hi, Marmar. Look at the camera. Yeah. Hello. We're wearing some sweaters. So I want to talk about there's like I really don't know how to say it, but let me try my best, which is that parenting is like a key, like a secret key, a secret key. I mean, everyone knows about parenting, especially if you have kids, but like even if you don't have kids, you have parents or you had role models or you had something, you know, we need adults. Children need adults to. Marmar, are you an itchy little boy? Yes, you're just an itchy little boy. You an itchy little boy. Anyways, this is my baby, and as you, some of my fans might know, I really want to have a baby of my own one day. I don't mean by myself. Like I want to have a partner that I adore and equally adores me. You know, in relationships, you really do need that equal input, like with your energies. If you're putting more of your energy into it, it's not gonna work. It just can't. Like in all things, we need balance, and I think the universe is always pushing us towards balance. Like right now in Ontario, there's this massive housing crisis, and I know there's a lot of crises around the world, um, and it really weighs on me, as it does all of us. And I'm concerned. But anyways, right now what I want to talk about is the housing crisis in Ontario because it kind of connects to the idea of parenting and like basically solving two problems with one stone. Which I mean, as my MBTI friends, I'm a TE child. You might know. TE child really loves efficiency, so being able to solve two problems with one action, oh my goodness, yes, please. It really tickles me. It tickles me pink. Um, but yeah, there's a housing crisis, and like, so I'm gonna be honest that I'm 29 years old and I can't afford my own house right now. It's really crazy here, like, to buy a house, and I have a lot of student debt because I did a lot of school, like, a lot of it, and it was not like I don't regret doing that, but it definitely has saddled like a lot of people um with a lot of debt. And so like it's like I kind of thought when I went to university, I honestly was like, okay, I'm going to go to school, and because I kind of like in the back of my mind I knew like eventually I have to be able to become financially independent from my parents. Um and I am not lazy. I worked really hard, and like I had summer jobs in high school, and I worked at jobs like, but I never really like wanted a career. I was never like, hey, I know what I want. Lean in for the career. I was like, let's lie down for the career and drink a mimosa. I actually have not started drinking, but I do have some wine on me. Not a lot, but this is $8.95. So, and it tastes pretty good. I'm not picky with my white wine, but the price was right. What is this? This is a Pinot. Oh no, it doesn't say. See, sometimes the cheaper wine doesn't even say, and I'm like Riesling, Chardonnay. I don't know. Anyways, that doesn't matter. That was a side note. But $8.95, like that was a pretty good price. Um, anyway, so like kind of relevant because things are really expensive now, and I think they're gonna get even more expensive. But regardless, I'm 29 years old. I can't afford my own house. I find it really hard to like I tried different things because like I'll just tell you what I did with my education and where it led me. So in high school in grade 12 and like in grade 12 at the end of high school I knew like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to university because it seemed like the fun thing to do. And it also seemed like to me at the time I was like, this is the most efficient way to make, for me at least, and everyone's different, right? It just depends on like your abilities and interests, and it honestly does not matter. There's a lot of people in this world who are down on themselves for not having a university degree, and honestly, like, you really shouldn't. I don't know how to explain it to you because like it's like the grass is always green on the other side, and it's hard for me to tell you not to be sad about something that I do have and you don't, like the have nots. But honestly, university doesn't mean that you're necessarily smarter than anyone else. It doesn't mean that you're worth more than anyone else. It means that you did something for 4 years or whatever, however long you were there for with your life. Like, and people do it for all sorts of reasons. Honestly, my reasons were twofold. I thought it would be fun, and I thought because I'm very smart, I thought this is the most efficient way. And I am really smart, but smartness is like not well understood by society, and smartness does not guarantee success in any way. And in some ways, it means that you have more needs. And fuck, I mean, I am grateful for what I have. Like, I am really grateful, but I'm just trying to like explain it in a way that is understandable to other people. Like, that like some people place a lot of ego identity on it, and it like, and they see university as like this proof that like, look, I have something. Honestly, that's like a marketing scheme that is fucking garbage. Excuse my language. But like, that's a marketing scheme that honestly, don't buy into it. Okay, if you want to go to university, do it because it's fun, or you think it's gonna be fun. And if it's not fun, then don't do it. Like, that is like the real gold. Like, honestly, that's the golden reason to do anything. ESFP here, and I'm pretty sure I'm type 7. I used to think I was type 4 in the Enneagram, but now I'm like, wait a minute, am I type 7? Because that kind of rings true. Like, from the beginning, I never was like, I want to lean in and have a career. I wanted to have a mimosa on the beach, and I am becoming increasingly frustrated that that seems to be impossible. Like, why am I not having a good time drinking a mimosa on the beach? I don't even know if I've ever had a mimosa. It just sounds cool to say. But like, the point is that we should be having a good time, and we're not. And like, there's a lot going on in the world, and I don't really, I think that I basically, sorry, it's like I'm kind of scattered here. And I hope this is easy to follow, but basically like what's happening in the world can really like be broken down into like simplistic and I thoughts of like, imagine you are a kindergarten teacher and you're taking care of 30 6-year-olds, okay? And that is the whole world, and there's nothing outside of that. It's you and 36-year-olds, and you have to teach them, and take care of them, okay? And nothing else exists beyond that. So like, what do you do? Like, there's lots of problems that come up with children, like for example, not sharing toys. Like, this is such a classic thing, and it happens in any classroom all the time. One kid is playing with an object, like, it can be like mundane, like, oh, look how cool this is, and they're like really invested in it, they're having a good time, they're like doing fun things, whatever. And then another kid will see that and they'll want it for themselves. It makes sense why they want it. Like, they see that you're having a good time with it, they're like, hey, I want that. So they go and they take it from you, right? And the adult comes in and is like, no, you gotta share your toys. you got to share your toys, right? And sometimes you need to use a little bit of fairness, right? And be like, well, that kid had it first, so how about, you ask them if you can share. And of course, like the one kid is like who just like literally was upset because you took the toy is not gonna want to share with you, right? Like, so already you, like, the one mean kid did not approach the other one with the right. But like, we're all learning, like that's how it is. Like, this is kind of what we're here for, is to learn and expand, and also to have a good time, and and sort of realize who we are and what we are. But like, we're taught to share our toys, share our resources. And I think that, like, it's obvious to me that humans are super powerful, but we really don't know at times how to harness the power in ways that are good and productive and for the betterment of everything in the universe. And so, like, it just can be really a dangerous world out there. And I know that like, I hope that doesn't offend anyone, that like I'm breaking something down to like a simplistic thing like that. But if you look at the lessons that were taught in early childhood, those lessons can be applied to any aspect of our adult life. And so, like, sharing resources, and I'm not saying go full socialism. Full socialism or communism leads to the exact same thing that late stage capitalism does. Just look at Cuba. Like, the Castros own so much of the wealth, and most people live in poverty there. Well, poverty, like, what, the standards are different, but like, really, like, it's a stark contrast. So capitalism with like 1%, like people like Buffett, Musk, and other people owning 1%, and like these big oil moguls who we don't even know who they are, but they exist, like owning 1% of the wealth is, or I'm not saying that right, the 1% owning the majority of the wealth is that's capitalism. That's what it leads to. But actually, socialism and capitalism are best friends on the playground of life, and they need each other. Like, one is the shadow of the other, so they're soulmates, and they need each other to be balanced. And without the balance, it's not going to work, and it's going to, like, so you need both, and you need both of them to be balanced. They're just two forces that work together to be balanced. And yeah, like, when we live in an unbalanced state, a lot of people's needs start to go unmet. Unmet need cannot be. It's gonna cause a lot of pain and fear and all of that. And like, we're living in a time where the majority of adults in my generation and above have attachment wounds. A lot of people are very, very, like, whether they're aware of it or not, are very scared of being abandoned. And this has led to like an isolation. And I remember like really noticing it. Okay, I told you what I was, sorry. I said I was going to tell you about my university and like career and stuff, and I will. But right now I'm on to a good thought. So it's like I noticed this when I got out of university. I started working, and like I worked in a cubicle. I was an engineer in training, which is like I was an engineer graduate, and then I went to work and like design stuff and crap. And like, I just really noticed that like there was no balance. Like, I went from university where there's like, honestly, university at that time did a really good job of creating a community for myself that was loving and supportive. Engineering school was fun, and it was a very supportive community of people that worked well. But then you leave that, and we call it like leaving the bubble or something. Really, it's a loss of community that people experience when they go, like when they leave school to entering a workforce. And the workforce in this late stage capitalism that we have is not balanced in any real way. And we know this to be true. I can prove it. Is it normal that the majority of people have anxiety disorders or depression? Is that normal? Like, that tells me that there are needs going unmet, right? Like our spiritual needs, our needs for community. Like that is a spiritual need. Like, well, whatever. I don't have to use that word, but like it is a real need that is going unmet. And when I entered into that workforce and I saw how everything was so isolated and it was like we're all in our tiny little cubicles, and I took drastic action to escape that, thinking more about myself and that I could escape it. But I couldn't. Like, I quit my job and went back to school to become a midwife. And I was looking for a community. I was looking for a supportive community that would last longer than school. And honestly, healthcare has a ton of toxic problems. Like it's a community, but it's more like a community that tears you down. And it was incredibly isolating. And I was like, well, I just went to two polar extremes and I found the exact same thing. And that's a paradox. And paradoxes are always true. Two opposite things, always the same. Angels, demons, it's the same thing. It's just two different expressions of the same thing. One is the shadow of the other. And so, like capitalism, socialism, same thing. They're just shadows of each other. They need to work together to form the balance. And so, like, in all things, we should strive towards balance. And how this connects to the housing crisis in Ontario is that, like, we build our houses and we live in our nuclear families if we're lucky enough to have one that's functioning. But really, each of our houses is a cubicle of isolation. Like, I drive around my city and I know that nature has healing properties, that if you go into nature, you will feel renewed. You will remember the humanity that is inside each and every one of us and be connected to something and feel peace. And yet we destroy it by building so many subdivisions, and these subdivisions are mostly taken up by road space, where we get into our cars, where we're once again alone and separated. It's not normal to talk to your neighbor. It's not normal to go visit. Is it like, how many of us have a tight-knit community? And if you do, you're lucky, because most people don't. And this is a need that has gone unmet for some time, and it has real consequences to each and every one of us. And I think that the new norm should be, like, one concrete solution to this problem is normalizing multiple nuclear families living in one dwelling. So FYI to developers, if any developers ever see this, it's a bad idea to, like, the way we're developing the land right now, it's not going to work long term, because the prices go up and the houses get smaller. Like, I just designed water servicing today for less than 0.1 hectare land, 39 units, which is 3-story walk-ups. Like, there's nothing wrong with townhouses per se, but it is not feasible that we have these sprawling subdivisions where we need cars to even get out of our subdivision. That's not a good city plan. It's isolating, and it destroys our chances of building connections with other people. So, like, it's upsetting to me because like, we need community, and we need it like yesterday. And like, we're in a climate crisis, okay? Which means that not only, like, everything is falling apart. There are 3 pillars to sustainability. One pillar leaves, they all fall, because there's no such thing as a two-legged stool. It will fall, right? So, like, we're becoming poorer. That's evident. And we were becoming poorer before the pandemic. Um, so, you know, socialism, capitalism need to be balanced. I think we need to normalize multiple nuclear families living in one dwelling. And this connects to parenting because if we can, parenting is a key to like a secret knowledge key, okay? Because if we can figure out how to parent well as a society, as a culture, then like it's like a metric for how well we're doing and how well our needs are met. I think that it's super important to look at early childhood development and understand what children need to successfully develop and be happy and to reach their potentials. And I think the saying goes that it takes a village to raise a child, and it does. It is incredibly isolating for children. And when both parents work, which is the norm right now, and what's needed so that people can afford their houses and their cars, like it's fine to have abundance. I'm not against abundance, but we're not doing it efficiently. And we're sort of like treading in water that like when really like we could be surfing. And instead we're like frantically treading water when we literally could be surfing. And I'm like so frustrated at this. So yeah, like the new norm should be like really focusing hard on connecting community. Like keep your adult friends, especially your adult friends who are interested and good with your children if you have children, because it takes more than parents, two people to parent children. Like it really does. And children need to feel safe. If they don't feel safe, they get attachment wounds. And attachment wounds will end up really hurting them in their 20s for sure. Like I guarantee it. I'm not trying to scare anyone into like doing anything or anything. Like if you're a parent, please don't be scared by this message. I'm just making a point that our culture is very isolating and it's very expensive. And I don't see a lot of people having fun with it. And FYI, shopping is not a pastime. Like if you're bored and you want to pass time by shopping, that's a marketing scheme in and of itself. So like we need to increase our efficiency so that we can surf and have a lot of fun. Because from the beginning, I said I want to have a good time, and that is my purpose on this planet. And like it is surprisingly a incredibly difficult goal to achieve. Like I thought it would be easy or something. It's not easy. And yeah, like we all should be having a good time. So multiple nuclear families living in one dwelling unit is what's going to happen, because it's what needs to happen. It's not normal that like all my friends who are pulling in six-figure incomes still can't afford a house at 30. Like what the heck? Okay, so and those are the tops. I'm like, what about most people don't make that kind of money? I don't make that kind of money right now, but I think that it is it's very like, imagine if you lived with people you really trusted, and like let's say there's three couples in one house and they each have two children, okay? So that's 6 adults and 6 children. So that's 12 people. It is doable to cook. One person cooking for 12 people is doable. Imagine like you rotate that around. Like the responsibility of cooking gets rotated, cleaning gets rotated, income gets rotated. You could theoretically homeschool your children and there could be somebody there. Like not everyone has to work. And like you you know, obviously you have to make it work, which is why I said that the housings that we build now aren't going to work in the future, because we need to start having more of like how we evolved. Like the research says that the best cultures for our development is hunter gatherers. So how do we simulate that? Like, and yeah, I'm trying to be a little bit more positive about this, but I'm tired, and I've been pretty busy with work lately, and but so I'm sorry I'm not being more positive and excited about this, but it is really, really important that we realize that we are co-creating our reality, and we do not need to, we can make changes to what is going on. Yeah. And we really don't all need to have cars. Because as self-driving cars become mainstream, all you have to do is order a car just like an Uber, and it is just as efficient as owning your own car. So, like, we don't all need to own cars. We just like can use it like a train that arrives as soon as you want to leave and takes you where you want to go, and then you don't need to park it. Although that creates some issues, like where do these cars go when they're not being used, and like there are some logistics that go along with that. So I don't know the like exactly all of those details, but kind of like really taking a look at what actually makes you happy, because I think owning a car so that you can go to your office job that's in the next city over was never a good idea or plan. And it seems like we've got kind of like gone ourselves into a hole, which is one awesome silver lining about the pandemic, because now through a pandemic, the new norm is working from home. And I think that should stick. So yeah. You know, I kind of like grew up in the 90s when like people like it was taboo for your teacher to tell you about climate change in some places, and like people were like, yeah, like maybe this is happening, and we're pretty like the science says it's happening, but on the other hand, do we trust the scientists? Like how did the sorry again swearing, how did the oil lobbyists like trickle down into elementary schools where like hello, not that the scientific method is the be all and end all, but it is like a pretty good method for some things. And anyways, so like then I knew at the time when I was like getting this message at like 7, 8 years old, I was like, oh crap, like I cannot believe this bad news that I'm hearing right now. I knew it was true. I'm like, well, this really makes sense when you consider that like our lifestyle has changed drastically in the last 100 years. So I was like, probably true. and then and then I honestly thought, like, I'm like, no need to worry, Nicole. Okay. My 8-year-old mind was like, the adults will probably solve this problem by the time I get to be 30 years old. Well, what the hell? Okay. I'm 29 now, and the homework was due a couple days ago on climate crisis, and we haven't even begun. Well, we have begun in some ways, but holy hell. I thought that this would be taken care of by now. Like, if I'm your boss and you're in charge of fixing this, I thought, you know, there was a miscommunication. It's okay, you're not fired. But I do want to say there's a miscommunication about the due date. The deadline was yesterday. And we're here. So, now we both need to work late until the night to solve this problem. Camaraderie. That's how you get through that one. But yeah, I do think that parenting is a secret key. And I'll make more videos on like these topics. I know that there's like I kind of spewed a lot of different ideas out there and kind of tried to connect them. So I'll try and like make more concise videos about this, because I do think it is incredibly important. Um, and that's one thing about TE Child. TE Child always knows what is the most important information and how to use it. Like, I can't take all the information in, but I can take a look at the information, scan it, and be like, this is important, this is important, this is important. I'm telling you that parenting is incredibly important for society. Like, it can change society, and it will. Because we all love our children, and we all want our children to be the most successful in this three-dimensional world, which is incredibly difficult to survive in. Like, this is why our egos even create attachment disorders in the first place, is because, like, we are really geared towards surviving, and it's because surviving in the 3D is not that easy. And what I mean by that is, like, you have real needs. Like, the reason we have to work is because we need to regulate our temperature, and we need to have calories in, or else we die. So, like, and water. Those are like the 3 needs that we really need. And actually, surprisingly, these needs have caused us to, like, somehow have manifested into like the 9 to 5 work life or whatever, or like the 40-hour work week, which really for a lot of people is actually like 60 to 80 hours. And that is not a good balance. I'm just flat out gonna say it's not a good balance. Like, even 40 hours is not, like, it kind of depends on what you're doing, and like you can enjoy your work, and like you should strive to like have a mindset of enjoying work, because like any like work actually is a huge gift to us, and like there's a lot of examples of that. But yeah, like the main reason we have to work is because of our 3 main physical needs, and so like this manifests into like our brains really being like, you gotta survive, and that starts as soon as you're born, maybe even earlier. And babies are intimately aware of the energies that their mothers have, and it's through their breast milk, their pheromones, and a lot of other things that I don't really know about, but I know it's true. And so when a baby senses that the mother's distressed, then the baby shuts down some of its needs, because like imagine like there's a tiger and you're your mother and you have a baby, right? And you're out on like some plane or whatever. Like, the mother's going to be distressed, and that baby needs to not cry. So like these things are built into us for survival. But like, now if you have like a generation of mothers who have postpartum depression, which is really exacerbated by the culture that we live in, now we have a whole fleet, a whole generation of babies with attachment injuries. And like World War I, World War II, all these things have really impacted all of this too. So, you know, we need a community that works. We need balance, right? And I showed you this necklace before, my yin yang. I wear this necklace every single day as a prayer to God to help us restore balance, right? This is yin yang, but it's not in balance. So let us find balance, because we can. It is totally within our grasp. We are co-creating our reality together, and yeah, like let's find balance so that we can surf, because it is like, it's honestly like yoga. Like, sometimes in yoga, the yoga instructor comes to you and is like, here, just kind of take a deep breath in and like move, and then all of a sudden you have way more range of motion, and you're like, I didn't think I could do that, but it was actually really easy. This is what we're at. Like, I'm telling you, these changes are easy to make. You can do it. You just gotta believe that you can do it, and you can. We really can. We can make these changes, and they can be like oh, like, this was so much fun. Well, I'm so glad that we're doing it like this now. Okay. Peace out, Girl Scout. I know this was a long one, so if you watch the whole thing, well, like, I'm really impressed. Also, side note, so I have like 30 regular viewers, and it does actually make me quite like the I did it as an experiment at first, of like putting my thoughts on the internet, like an open journal or something. But I do know that some of you probably, like, I'm not I do know that some of you are lawyers who watch this looking for to try and understand who I am. And like, I just want to say that like this is art and it's like for fun for me, but also like I know I'm talking about something serious here, but I just don't want my art to be used in ways that are like I don't know, like I guess that's like the price you pay for posting art. Like that is true. Like anyone can take this and do anything they want with it. Um so yeah, I guess I kind of understand that, but like I just want to say that like I'm a kind person and I don't lie. I mean, obviously everyone has lied, but like I'm not lying about anything I've said. So yeah. Anyways, that's kind of cryptic way to end it, but like I just wanted to acknowledge my audience because it is important to kind of understand your audience, and like on YouTube that's pretty difficult, but and something I think about. But yeah, and to the others who don't know what I'm talking about, that's totally okay. It doesn't really matter. I'm just saying that like I'm aware of the dangers of posting videos online, sort of, but I'm not really aware of the consequences because I never am. When was I ever really aware of consequences? I just, you know, that's just a trait of being an SE Dom. What can I say? I'm not trying to use my personality type to be like consequences still affect me whether I'm aware of them or not. But definitely some types like NI types are like, if I do this, this will happen. And my NI inferior is like, if I do this, I'll get what I want or something. And then it doesn't really think too much past that. Like all like the intuitives of the world are kind of amazing, but also kind of mean at times, and I don't know why they're mean, like to the censors, because like I'm like, the heck, like don't be mean to the censors, okay? Because I'm a censor and I like you intuitives. So, anyways, it's all it's all been a lot. Okay, so if you kept with me this long, wow, thank you. Peace out, Girl Scout. We got this.